Summer Reading Challenge with Newham Libraries and the Silly Squad. Come on, let's get dancing with it. Can you feel it? Can you feel the summer vibes? Can you feel like you're surfing along California or Newham? Yes, welcome to Newham Libraries Summer Reading Challenge. Hello, my name is Bobby Seagull and you're going to be doing a bit of fun maths with me for the next little while. So welcome. Can you see me now? Hello, how are you all? As you can tell by my outfit and my vibes, I'm clearly ready for the summer. And if you go to summerreadingchallenge.org.uk, you can find out lots about what's going on in this particular challenge. So we're really excited to invite all children in Newham and beyond to join us for this year's Summer Reading Challenge. And it's an annual challenge delivered by the Reading Agency in partnership with public libraries and funded by the Arts Council of England. So thank you very much. And this year's theme is the Silly Squad. Hold on. The Silly Squad. I got lots of people in my Silly Squad. How are you all? Lots of people in my Silly Squad. But actually the Silly Squad is a colourful creation of award-winning author and illustrator Laura Ellen Anderson. So thank you, Laura. So I urge you to get involved. And today's session, we're going to have a bit of fun with a bit of maths and numbers. So there you go. Okay, these guys, they're part of my Silly Squad. Where can I leave them? I'll leave them on the sides of the table. Hope they don't mess around in my lesson. You'll get in trouble, okay? I'm gonna leave you all there. So, where are we? So, I'm a school teacher. So my name is Bobby Seagull, school maths teacher, as I said, an author, as you can see in the back. Author of The Life-Changing Magic of Numbers, and a presenter for the BBC TV series Monkman and Seagull's Genius Guides. So, I'm going to tell you the plan. You know, if you go to school, you've got like a timetable. I'm going to give you one for today's session. So firstly, I'm going to tell you about my reading story. How did I get into books? Then secondly, we're going to look at money and maths. Money, it's so funny. Going to learn a bit about that. Then about shapes. I love shapes. Throwing some shapes on the dance floor in the summer, and also mathematical shapes. Then I'll set you a reading puzzle. And that will fit as part of your homework with Bobby. And then finally, some thoughts of Mr. Seagull, some positive ideas to set you off into the summer and the reading challenge. So as you can see, my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it's at Bobby_Seagull. And you can also tweet us at Newham Libraries. #Summer Reading Challenge. Summer Reading Challenge. I'm getting very excited because it's a summer. You can see that. Even though I'm looking out of my window in Newham and it's a bit grey. That's the humour of summer. Grey here, all bright inside here. So who am I? So I'm Mr Bobby Seagull. I'm a school maths teacher. I teach in East London. But I'm also doing a doctorate in maths education at Cambridge University, trying to understand why people get scared about maths. And hopefully today you feel a bit more like, oh, maths is alright. Maths is quite a nice subject. So my journey actually began a long time back in Newham. The Silly Squad is jumping. He's trying to run away from my maths lesson. Don't run away. Hang along. Wait along here. So when people meet me, they often go, oh, you're that guy from University Challenge. So if you've not heard of it before, University Challenge is a quiz show where they ask questions about maths, science, history, geography, sport, drama, chemistry, anything. And it's hosted by a man called Jeremy Paxman. And I was on the show back in 2016 to 17, and I did well. I worked hard with my team. We didn't win it, but since then, the BBC have given me my own TV series with the person whose team defeated me, Eric Monkman. So it's a road trip series where we go around England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, looking at cool bits of science, history, and technology. And then with my friend Eric Monkman, I've written a quiz book, the Monkman and Seagull quiz book, very cleverly named. And I've also published my own book, The Life-Changing Magic of numbers. Actually, I'm going to let you into a little secret. I'm writing my own children's fiction book. You know, have you heard of Tracy Beaker? Or Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime? Or The Famous Five? I'm trying to write a little mystery book for children with puzzles along the way. So again, watch this space. Mr. Seagull's writing away. Okay, so people go, Bobby, you're smart. You know, you seem to know lots of things. Were you born smart? And I'm like, I wasn't born smart. So that picture you can see, it looks a bit like Big Ben, but it's not. It's actually East Ham Town Hall. Beautiful red brick building. And beside it is the modern East Ham Library that I go to. But there was the old East Ham Library. And every Saturday, after lunch, my mum would make a really delicious lunch. Our dad would take myself and my siblings, my brothers, to East Ham Library. We'd have a shopping trolley. And we'd go there and we'd sit in the library, sprawled on the floor, reading books on anything from the Aztecs, Victorian engineering, fiction of Roald Dahl. And it was these Saturdays that opened my eyes to the world. And without the knowledge that I built up from my library reading, I perhaps wouldn't be standing in front of you today as a knowledgeable person who loves learning about the world. So libraries opened my passport to being who I am. And since then, actually, I'm very passionate about libraries and books. I've become an organisation called CILIP, the professional body for librarians. I've become their libraries champion. You are the libraries champion. And it's a role that the likes of Stephen Fry and Mary Beard have taken on before. And they're like, Bobby, we think you could be a good supporter of libraries. And I love libraries and books. So I've done things like taking a manifesto of the importance of libraries to the House of Lords. I've taken a petition to Downing Street. And again, I'm going to be continuing. You know, like your knight in shining armour fighting a dragon. Well, I'm going to be fighting for you and books and libraries, saying, come on, we need more libraries, more funding, more books. Children and everyone should be reading. I also like Harry Potter, but I was actually fighting a dragon. So, time for It's All About the Money, 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 Money and Maths. I'll tell you something about money and maths. Mr. Seagull might have actually misplaced his notes. Not very smart. Okay, so back in ancient times, people used to barter. They used to barter. So if I wanted something, let's say I wanted, what could I want of yours? I wanted your ox. Your ox. You might say, oh, Bobby, oxes are quite nice, but I've got lots of oxes. How about you give me some of your oranges? And what we'd do is we'd swap. I'd give you lots of oxes. And you have like a burger maybe. And and then we'd swap with oranges. And this used to happen originally around 6,000 BC. 6,000 BC. So that's about 8,000 years ago. And this system was called bartering. Bartering. B-A-R-T-E-R. Where we'd swap things. And the first people that mainly came about this were the Mesopotamians. And these are people that lived around the Middle East, around modern day Iraq and Iran. So they exchanged goods. It could be rice or cattle or seeds. And the Romans, you know the Romans, the marching Romans, they exchanged salt. And you might be thinking, but why don't we barter now, Mr. Seagull? Why don't I give you this teddy bear here for a calculator or a phone? Well, I'll tell you what. Do you remember we talked about bartering seeds or cattle or oranges? Those things are perishable. They can go off, can't they? Or cattle, they get old and they age and the meat perhaps doesn't get as good quality. So people realized that you couldn't exchange things equally. Because again, if I give you an orange, a month later, the orange is going to be pretty bad, isn't it? It's going to be off. So in Lydia, in 700 BC, so about 2,700 years ago, they used something called this. Lydia in modern Turkey. What does that sound like? What is that? Is that the silly squad? No, it's not the silly squad. It's coins. Coins. So 700 BC, we saw, so after like people used gold and things, people started printing or making, as it were, coins. Lots of coins. I got lots of coins. I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. And then, about 1,400 years later, the Chinese were the first to use this, paper money. Because imagine carrying lots of coins. It can be quite heavy, can't it? So they started using paper money. And then later on, in the 20th century, we started developing plastic cards that your mum and dad might use to buy things for you, buying books. And then finally now with electronic money, where you can, use e-pay, you can do things at a quick click of a button. So money has changed. But money is all about numbers, isn't it? Because when you talk about, oh, there's a 10% discount, or your mum says, I need you to buy £5 worth of chocolate. Very generous mum giving you £5 to buy chocolate. Or you go to the shops and you buy a t-shirt for £8, where you give £10 and you get some change back. Maths and money are very much linked together. So I'm going to show you something that might stretch some of you, but it's very important. Time for a quick drink of water. So even the silly squad, do they need some water? Do you need some water? Silly squad? This is my silly squad. It's a London 2012 map. You want water? No? I think I'm going to have some water. So, National Numeracy. They are a charity that works in helping to improve numeracy, people's levels of maths in the UK. And I work for them as a charity ambassador. So I'm going to show you a question. So imagine you have a really good Saturday job that gives you £9 an hour. And then your manager says, you've been working really hard. You've been working really hard. I'm going to give you a 5% increase, a 5% increase. So the question is, how much are you now earning? What do you reckon? How much do you now earn? Come on, come on. Oh, I've got the answer. You know what? What is the answer? Speak up, speak up. It's £9.45. I'm going to tell you how I got that. I'm going to tell them, okay? So, percent is out of 100, out of 100. So 5% means 5 out of 100 of £9. So to work out 5%, there are different ways. I'd work out 10% of £9. So firstly, how many pennies in £1? 100 pennies in £1. So £9 there's 900 pennies. So to work out 10%, you divide a number by 10. So 900 divided by 10 is 90p. And half of that is 5%, and half of 90p is 45p. So £9 increased by 5% is £9.45. And some of you are thinking, oh, that was straightforward. Or others are thinking, oh, I need a bit of help or practice on that. But I'll tell you one thing. In the UK, only half of adults can work it out, even with a calculator. And it shows you there's something about maths that puts people off, that makes them scared. And I want to show you actually, maths can be fun. It's just about getting yourself involved. Again, whether you're cooking a meal and you're trying to put a pizza in the oven and you're trying to work, oh, it says put it for 45 minutes, preheat the oven for 5 minutes, so I need 50 minutes before the football game starts. You're using maths and numbers all the time. Even when you're planning a route to school and you're thinking, the bus comes every 10 minutes, it takes 20 minutes to get to school, 5 minutes to walk to the bus stop, so that's at least 35 minutes. So if school starts at 8:50, I need to leave 35 minutes before. You're using maths and numbers all the time. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it. Embrace the subject. So, I did promise you, we're going to look into shapes, shapes, shapes. Throw your favourite shapes, shapes, shapes. I could do a shapes dance on Strictly Come Dancing. Imagine that. And next up, Bobby Seagull and the shapes dance. Shapes, 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 shapes. It's not about that. So, let's look into some shapes. So we've got a dot, the most basic thing, a dot. If you put two dots together, you connect them, you get a what? You get a line. Put two lines together, you sort of just get two lines. But what happens when you put three lines together? What do you get? What do we get? Come on, guys. What do we get? If we put three lines together, come on, tell me. You think of the triangle? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. It's a triangle. It's a triangle. Well done. And actually, that's a special type of triangle. Because when all three sides are the same, it's called an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle. What about if we get four sides? Four sides. What do we get there? What do you reckon? It's a square. It's a square. How about five sides? Oh, you're telling me, hold on. Four sides could be a what? Could be a rectangle as well. They don't have to be the same size. Correct. Could be a rectangle. What about five sides? What is that called? It's a what? It's a pentagon. That's correct. And then come on. Okay, these guys are getting left out. What about six sides? What about six sides? What is that? A what? Hexagon. Yes. Well done, City. My City squad are doing well today. So these are all what they're called 2D shapes. And 2D means two-dimensional. It means that I can draw it on a piece of paper. For example, look, that's a square. Very badly drawn square. I'm not a Picasso, but that's a square. But these shapes, we can make them into 3D shapes. So for example, we have here, let's have a look. Oof, if I can hold this. We have a circle. That's a circle. That's two-dimensional, but actually if you look at it, this is three-dimensional. This is almost like a cylinder because it's a 2D shape with depth. Let's look at all the shapes that we've got up there. So you've got a triangle, and if you extend a triangle out into a 3D shape, you've almost got a Toblerone. You know a Toblerone chocolate? What about a square? A square, you can see somewhere there, I have a Rubik's Cube. You can make a Rubik's Cube. That's a square as a three-dimensional object stretched out. And we can do that with lots of things. Because shapes are two-dimensional, flat, or three-dimensional in the real world. So, let's look at another type of shape. So these are three-dimensional shapes. And if a few of you are going, oh, Mr. Seagull, Bobby Seagull, I know what this is. I know what this is. You know what this is. So if you've been to London or you live in London, you might have seen this. So this is in Canary Wharf. And you've got in the middle the Canary Wharf Tower. So it's sort of like a rectangle-based 3D shape. And what's that called? What's a rectangle-based 3D shape called? Have a think, have a think. But on top of it is what we're looking at. On top of the cuboid, as it were, there's a triangle, and there are four triangles with a square at the base, and that's called what is it called? Triangles with a square base? A pyramid. A pyramid. And that is a three-dimensional mathematical shape. Impressive, isn't it? A three-dimensional mathematical shape. And where can we find three-dimensional mathematical shapes like pyramids? Where in the world do we have to travel? I've got my globe here. Where do you want to travel? So a globe, this is almost like a flat surface, would be called a circle. But a three-dimensional circle, what is that called? A sphere. And to be honest, a little secret, the Earth is not a perfect sphere. You know, like oranges, sometimes they're a bit squashed. It's called an oblate spheroid. An oblate spheroid, so it's a bit squashed. But this one is a sphere. We'll call it a sphere for now. And we're going to travel to find a pyramid. Where can we find a pyramid? In Russia? No. In Australia? No. How about India? Not really. Actually, we're going to go to Egypt. Egypt. Well, let's travel over to Egypt. Let's go to Egypt. Let's go to Egypt. So here we can see probably the most famous pyramid in the world. And this is called the Great Pyramids at Giza. The Great Pyramids at Giza. And you can see we have, if you're looking from above, there'll be a square at the base and four sides, which are triangles. And this is where they would bury ancient Egyptian monarchs. The mummies, you would find them all there. So be careful if you go there. And when we think of ancient Egypt, who are some of the famous figures that come to mind? You might be thinking of Tutankhamun, yes. but also this very famous lady from Egyptian culture, and her name is Cleopatra, coming at you. So it's Cleopatra. So have a look. She's an amazing figure from world history. So it's Cleopatra, and this is a film version. That's not, we didn't have pictures back then, but photographs. So that's Cleopatra. And then I'm going to show you something very unusual. So sometimes, again, I eat healthily, but occasionally I like to try out some fries and milkshake from McDonald's. And you're probably thinking, what's the connection, Bobby Seagull, between all of this? And actually, time and maths is going to connect these things. So here's an astonishing fact for you. So Cleopatra, she's Egyptian, yeah. And so are the pyramids at Egypt. But Cleopatra actually is more likely to have gone to McDonald's for a milkshake than having visited the Great Pyramids of Giza. And you're thinking, oh, how is that possible? And I'll tell you why. Let's look at a bit of dates and the maths there. So the Great Pyramids of Giza were built by 2580 BC. So that's from now, 2020, and then get to 80 years zero as it were, and then go back 2580 years. So 2500 BC, before Christ. And when was Cleopatra? When did she die? So she died 30 BC. 30 BC. So if you wanted to, do a little calculation, 2580 minus 30 to see the gap between the two. There's 2000, so there's 2550 years between the Great Pyramids of Giza and Cleopatra. And when was the first McDonald's? Actually, it was in 1955. So we can work out the gap between Cleopatra and McDonald's. So it's 30 BC to the year zero, that's 30 years. Then we add 1955, that's 1,985 years. So have a listen to this. It was 2,550 years from the Great Pyramid of Giza to Cleopatra. But from Cleopatra to McDonald is only 1,985 years. So with a bit of quick maths, we've worked out that Cleopatra was closer to McDonald's than she was to the Great Pyramid of Giza. And how about that? How about that? With a bit of maths, we've uncovered a very, very cool fact. And that's the Silly Squad. The Silly Squad, they're feeling pretty chuffed because they've learned that money has developed. We've had bartering system. We've had the coins by the Lydians, who are ancient in Turkey, and then the Chinese, 700 AD, came with paper money. We've also looked at years and dates and shown that Cleopatra lived closer to McDonald's than the Great Pyramids of Giza. Maybe Cleopatra liked her 3D shapes, maybe not enough. So what's next, Silly Squad? I'm going to set you a puzzle, a maths puzzle. Are you ready for that, Silly Squad? You ready? I think they're ready. Okay, let's have a look. Oh no, Silly Squad, you're falling down. You're falling down. They want to run away from the puzzle. Don't run away. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I am the UK Libraries champion for CILIP, the professional body for librarians. And as part of that, I got to interview actual authors, children's authors, for the Carnegie Greenway Medal Quiz. And I interviewed an author called Tony McGowan, and he won the Carnegie Medal for his book Lark. And I'm going to set you a puzzle for that. So you set yourself the task of reading the 2020 CILIP Carnegie Medal winning book Lark by Tony McGowan. And I'm telling you that there are about 100 pages, and on average there are 300 words per page. So you read about 200 words a minute, and you start at 9 AM. So assume that you have a 5-minute biscuit break after every 30 minutes of reading. What time will you finish the book? So I'm going to give you a few clues. Work out how many words there are all together in the book. So it's 100 pages and there's 300 words per page. So maybe a multiplication. And then you're reading 200 words a minute. 200 words a minute? Yes. So a bit of calculation. You read for 30 minutes, have a 5-minute biscuit break. Read for 30 minutes, 5-minute biscuit break. So get a pen and paper, maybe get your parents to help you out, work it out. And this is going to be part of your homework challenge. Your homework. So when I do classes, I normally set homework. You ready? Oh my God, they're like, homework? Mr. Seagull's a summer holiday. But it's fun homework. So one is, it's a do, draw or dance. So you can send it to me at Bobby_Seagull on Twitter, on Instagram, or my Facebook.com/Bobby Seagull, or even send me a YouTube video of it, YouTube.com/Bobby Seagull TV. So work out the answer to my puzzle, or secondly, draw a poster of something you learned in the class today. Could be about the shapes, could be about the money. Or finally, send me a video of a mathematical dance. I don't know, like a shapes dance. Triangle, square, triangle, square. We need more than that, but you can come up with a creative dance. Send that across to me. So if you're enjoying this short little class today, I do lots of classes. So on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bobby Seagull TV, or facebook.com/Bobby Seagull, I do classes on geography, on history, and as you can see, some fabulous homework there. Can you see some fabulous homework? That was on a class on the Great Fire of London. We did a class on Florence Nightingale, Nigeria. So lots of great fun. Or if you like your quizzes, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, I do a football quiz. Football, as a football header. Or every Saturday at 8 o'clock, I do a family quiz. And I've done quizzes on Wimbledon, the Olympics, South Asian culture. So lots of fun quizzes. So do come back for some of my classes or quizzes. So I wanted to show you something that's relevant to reading and the summer reading challenge. So I mentioned earlier, I am the presenter for a BBC series, Monkman and Seagull's Genius Adventures. It might still be on iPlayer. And I wanted to show you a clip and why it's relevant to our class today. Eric and I, part of the beauty of our friendship is we're both driven by the same thing, a sort of curiosity about the world.
Look at that, look at that.
Anything can be interesting. It just depends on your perspective. Yes, did you hear that? Anything can be interesting. It just depends on your perspective. Because some people are like, oh, I'm reading a book on tractors. But someone else might go, tractors are amazing. Because look at the history of tractors in Ukraine and how it opened up agriculture and crop growing. Anything can be fascinating. And actually brings me to thoughts of Mr. Seagull. So with my lessons and my students, I like to share positive ideas to help you flourish. And this one's related to a quote from a book. So you know I mentioned I'm a fan of Roald Dahl books. One of my favourite books is Matilda. And in Matilda, if you've not read it, please do read it. A quote says, "The books transported her into new worlds and introduced her to amazing people who lived exciting lives." And I think that's what books did for me. You know, I mentioned earlier, I went to East Ham Library every Saturday afternoon. So going there, I'd read books, find out about Aztec civilization, Victorian engineering, or the fiction of Roald Dahl. And even though I was still in East Ham, I would see different worlds. And that's why I think that the Children's Summer Reading Challenge with the City Squad is brilliant, because we're inviting you to read this summer and get involved. And again, today we've looked at some maths and numbers, but reading could be about maths, it could be about geography, history, it can be about anything. But the key thing is be curious about the world. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm Mr. Seagull, and again, it's hashtag Summer Reading Challenge. I'm at Bobby_Seagull on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, and also at Newham Libraries. Send us your pictures of getting involved, maybe the homework. We'd love to see how you're getting on. So it's going to be the City Squad. We're going to do a little dance to wish you goodbye. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me and the City Squad. Let's have a look at the little dance. Oh yeah, the Summer Reading Challenge brought to you by Newham Libraries and the Reading Agency, funded by the Art Council. Thank you all for joining us. You had a great time. Enjoy your summer and make sure you read. So I'll see you all soon.